Welcome to Qiological's mini-series dedicated to sports and orthopedic acupuncture. For the next few days, I'll be bringing you several podcasts a day from the Sports Acupuncture Alliance's conference in San Jose, California. In addition to interviews and discussions with speakers of the conference, you'll also be hearing from participants, and you'll have a special front row seat at a roundtable conversation around the issues of running a sports medicine practice. The Sports Acupuncture Alliance was created to promote the study and practice of sports and orthopedic acupuncture. I'm delighted that they were willing to partner with Qiological to bring you this mini-series so that those of you who were not able to attend the conference could learn from the speakers as well as the participants and to get a taste of what it's like to be here at this special event. Please enjoy these discussions and take what you learn here and use it in your clinic. These conversations come to you through the generous support of our sponsors and members. All the sponsors here provide helpful products or services that you'll find beneficial in your clinical work. Want to get better at treating concussions and other neurological conditions? Clayton Shoe has some innovative methods. Blue Poppy, your new one-stop shop, has speedy shipping options on everything that you need for your clinic. Later in the show, Jane offers you helpful suggestions on how to raise your rates, and Golden Flower Chinese Herbs shares a journey of healing that I think you'll recognize. Do be sure to visit the sponsors page on the Qiological website to take advantage of all the special offers our terrific sponsors have for listeners of the podcast. Picture this. Your clinic is buzzing with patients, and then you realize that you're down to your last box of needles. No need for panic, because Blue Poppy, your one-stop shop for all your acupuncture needs, they ship orders received before 3 p.m. on the same day. With a quick visit to Blue Poppy's website, you can order premium needles, herbal formulas, and that special Dr. Bob's oil that your patients love. Blue Poppy understands practitioners can't keep patients waiting. That's why they strive to get you what you need when you need it. From high-quality Chinese herbs and formulations to acupuncture supplies and clinical essentials, Blue Poppy has served practitioners for nearly 40 years with products that meet the highest of standards. Discover everything Blue Poppy has to offer by visiting www.bluepoppy.com, and don't forget to subscribe to their mailing list for exclusive offers and more. Ever found yourself listening to a Qiological conversation and thinking, wow, I needed to hear that? Yeah, me too. And I never know when I'm going to hear a guest say something that stops my world and reboots it with a larger perspective. If these conversations have ever helped you to feel more grounded, more inspired, or just less alone in this strange and wonderful work we do, consider becoming a member or supporting the podcast with a bit of tithing to the donation jar. It helps keep the lights on here at the Qiological Sound and Motion Lab so that we can bring you these conversations every Tuesday morning. You'll find all the details at qiological.com. Thanks for listening and for being a part of this.
Hey there. I'm Cameron Jafari, an acupuncturist from Los Angeles. So I started learning nanopuncture from Dr. Clayton Shoe because I was facing these complex neurological conditions like stroke and MS in my clinic, and I just felt like I lacked a solid process to treat them. Brain-related issues always felt like a whole different animal, and I was looking for a clinical system that worked and could guide me through them. So after attending my first nanopuncture seminar, I was able to apply the process pretty quickly and with pretty amazing results. I remember the first stroke patient I saw afterwards was a guy who had had a stroke 2 years back, and he couldn't talk at all. And after a few treatments, he started saying a few words. And a few treatments after that, he could actually have conversations. It was pretty incredible. So this is why I feel like nanopuncture is the future of acupuncture neurology. And you can be a part of that. Their next seminar is on treating concussions and is being co-taught by both Dr. Shoe and Dr. Ayla Wolf in New York City on April 26th and 27th. To learn more, visit nanopunctureseminars.com.
Well, you just never know what kind of conversations that you're going to run into here at the Sports Acupuncture Alliance. We just had a lovely question-answer session with some of the luminaries, the speakers here, about getting started with sports acupuncture, how you break into teams and that kind of thing. But some of us were talking afterwards. And what we were talking about was not how do you break into something, not how do you get something going, because most of us here are of an age and we have enough experience. It's more like what keeps you going in the middle part of your career. It's more like after the middle part of your career, what does the later part of your career look like? These are questions that don't get asked so often. So often people are like, how do I get through my first 5 years? Right? I've been at this for 20 years myself. And my question is, how do I do my next 20? Mm-hmm. I know it's really different than my first 20. So my name is Michael Max, and I'm here with my friends.
I'm Stefan.
Mary-Eve.
Jen.
Ilana.
And we just started having this conversation about what I was just talking about, how you keep yourself fresh, how do you keep yourself moving forward. And Jen's eyes are really big right now, so let's hear what she has to say.
I think what motivates us, perhaps at this point, is to continue learning and to put a lot of emphasis on sharing what we've learned. And I know for me, because I came from an athletic training, sports medicine background, and we were required to spend 1,800 hours working in an athletic training room for our internship. And I've always wanted to see acupuncture in that environment, more mainstream. So I think at this point, I'd really like to put some energy toward getting acupuncture more readily available in high school and collegiate, as well as professional athletic training rooms, and educating colleagues and, of course, patients, because I think we all want to leave something with this medicine that we do, and perhaps not work less, but work in a more expansive way.
Not work less, but work in a more expansive way. That just really lands. The other thing that really strikes me about what you're saying, mentorship, teaching, somehow taking a distillation of what we've gotten. Because, at this point we've gotten something, right. And how to somehow pass that along so it's not lost.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
That's why we're here. Mm-hmm. Stefan, what do you think?
Yeah, well, I think we have to, reinvent ourselves. Our life forces us eventually to reinvent ourselves. And I'm in this process right now. So several years ago, maybe 4 years ago, I was thinking, okay, how can I get better? I'd been doing that for a dozen years. And how do you get better? Seminars and readings, they do the thing, but I needed something else. So I said, okay, I need to teach so I can get better. I started teaching, and I'm still very part-time, but it's this process of redefining myself, not as a clinician and as a teacher. And
And is it true that you're teaching so that you can learn as well?
That's what made me make the move at the first point. Mm-hmm. It's like, I need to, I'm a perfectionist, and I said, I need to get better. And the best way to get better is to teach. So I have to organize this, 12 years of mixed clinical thoughts that are not just here and there. I can do it in the clinic. Can I explain it? So I start to organize my thought in order to communicate it. And then it leads me to a process where, okay, am I going to move full time? What am I just reinventing myself and sharing what I've been gathering without, not really consciously.
I'm hearing a theme of generosity here, that at a certain point, we take this distilled experience, like you were just saying, Stefan, making sense of it. I just came back from spending a few weeks on a writing retreat, mostly to see, what do I have here? I think I've got some stuff here, but I'm not exactly sure what it all is, right? Because I'm usually busy in clinic and I'm just kind of doing my thing, and it's the end of the day, and then, it's the next day. But, what you were talking about, where you really go through your stuff, and is there a system, or how do these things hang together? I'm glad to hear someone else is doing it, because I thought maybe I was just being a little bit crazy.
Well, you're speaking to my passion. The writing piece, writing what we're doing, what it is to be an acupuncturist in this culture and the different people who we work with. I there's so much to say about what it is to work with the body and the mind and the spirit, and what it is to integrate this ancient tradition into our modern lives. And the precision of the sports acupuncture, which we've just been sitting with, really exemplifies that integration and the importance of that integration, I think. And I see not just the writing piece as a way to sort of communicate and share all that we've learned, but also working with young people. I have a client whose son is a lacrosse champion, but he's got big injuries and he's applying to colleges, and so he needs to go out and perform and get into colleges and do these athletic performances so he gets his scholarships and goes forward and so on. And I'm sure he's one of many young people who is moving forward in these young, beautiful bodies that they want to, and they're living these incredibly healthy lives, and they want to perform beautifully. And this is a great opportunity for us to both share all of the spiritual wisdom and the medical wisdom, and to also then engage this whole new group of young people in what this medicine can do for them.
This episode is brought to you by Jane, the clinic management software that I use to keep my practice running smoothly. So, let's talk about something that can be a little bit uncomfortable: raising your fees. I know. This is something that might feel awkward, but it doesn't have to. With a bit of planning and care, you can handle it in a way that feels right for you and your patients. One tip: give yourself at least 2 months to prepare. This gives you time to get comfortable with the change and let your patients know what's happening. You can share the news through emails, booking reminders, or even just a friendly little sign in your clinic, and avoid over-apologizing. Instead, keep it straightforward and matter of fact. Keeping things consistent across the ways that you communicate can really help avoid confusion. Fee increases aren't always easy, but you're not on your own here. For more tips and ideas on how to communicate these changes with confidence, check out frontdesk.jane.app and look for the article, How to Tell Your Clients You're Raising Your Fees. Oh, and one last thing, if you're ready to give Jane a try, use the code QIOLOGICAL for a 1-month grace period on your new Jane account. I think I'm hearing a theme here, and one of the ways that we can go about this is we try to break into the big leagues, right? And there's always a big buzz, right? Whenever, oh, look, someone in the NFL got acupuncture, and all, Facebook goes crazy with acupuncturists going, hooray for us, right? And in a way, yeah, hooray for us. It's like the swimmer, with the cupping. And I don't know about you guys, but I get calls from tourists basically who, wanted to try it because he did. But that's not the same as a kid who comes in. I see some kids that are athletes as well. And the same sort of thing. They're transitioning from high school to college. And kids that are really good already have injuries, right? It goes with the territory. And these kids are perhaps dependent on a body that's going to work to get them through college. Talk about stress. Oh my God. Right? So like you were saying, John, if we can be in the high schools, if these kids come to us and they go, wow, the acupuncturist really helped me, they're going to be the ones that maybe talk to their team later, right? The next generation.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, please.
Actually did want to address something about that. We've been talking about working with professional athletes and prominent sports teams, and I have done my fair share of that and been an athlete myself, but I've always felt that athletes are people, and the beauty of having an athlete come in for this integrative type of treatment is treating them integratively, mind, body, soul. And so, because every athlete I have ever treated, they were earlier, Matt and others were talking about their Shen being clear, but most athletes have some kind of emotional component as well because they're human beings and under a lot of stress. So to give them that comfortable, safe place to be able to treat it holistically, mind, body, spirit, really opens them up to a life of better health. And I've always felt working with athletes, it's about improving their health, bottom line. That's going to make them the best athlete they can be. And I think we have those tools to best serve them. And that's what I'd personally like to grow in this. Starting at the young age with the younger athletes, because that's where it starts.
I like what you just said, was athletes are just people. And the same athletes or superstars, we all talk to them, but we all see them in the media, but they're just normal people. And definitely acupuncture has something to help them be their better self. And just the common person as well. We have the tools and the knowledge not to just fix their problem, but really open the door to the best self they can be at that moment. And that's a powerful tool that should be spread out more, I think.
So you just made a connection for me. My practice I live very close, one of my clinics is very close to Spirit Rock. So there are a lot of spiritual athletes who come to see me, if you will. I mean, people who are just at such high levels of spiritual development. It blows me away, the conversations and the interactions we have in the clinic sometimes. And I really feel that athletes, that is their spiritual journey. And I think that is part of why this medicine is so powerful for them, because we are really acknowledging and tapping into that and creating a space for that they may or may not have been able to articulate for themselves, and that may or may not be accepted in the culture, in the athletic culture, because if anything, it's very body-body. I mean, it's, we talk about body-mind, but it's very body-body, and it's sort of the opposite of your scholars who are always in their head and they plop down on your table and you wonder how, if they do that in bed with their head, it's some cockeyed, you have to rearrange them completely because the pillows are making them all crooked, and you wonder, are they in that body at all? And athletes are just exactly the other side of that. But there's a huge power in really bringing that whole body spirit together and making that place for them. And I think that's a really special thing that we have with the acupuncture.
Imagine this. A patient walks into your clinic. They're carrying more than the pain in their body. There's a story there. A history woven with the stress of long days, the ache of things unsaid, and the quiet longing for something to shift. You listen, not just with your ears, but with your hands, your intuition, your heart. It's not just about needles or a formula. It's about connection, understanding the threads that tie us together, mind, body, and spirit. That is where Golden Flower Chinese Herbs comes in. Rooted in tradition and crafted with care, their formulas are more than herbs. They're a bridge between ancient wisdom and modern practice. Every bottle, a quiet partner in your work, helping you to meet your patients where they are. Because healing isn't just about treating symptoms. It's about creating trust, cultivating belonging, and helping someone feel truly seen. Golden Flower Chinese Herbs, your partner in practice and connection, where tradition meets care. I'm thinking about a incredible opportunity I had recently. I got a ticket to hear a virtuoso violinist, age 22. Amazing. I've never been in a room where there was just a violin and a piano, and at times just a violin. I mean, this is the kind of character that we're talking about. And the music was amazing. And then because life is just the way it is, and through connections that I had with friends, the next day I was invited to come and talk with this person about their health. They had some questions, and so I had a chance to look at their tongue and feel their pulse, and we got to talk a bit. And because I had the opportunity to be in her music, right? So I'm thinking musicians and athletes, not so different, right? These are people with incredible spirit, that drives them to where they are. And physically, they have to be incredibly robust. So we can look at the physical performance. We can look at, helping people recover and keep their body strong. The thing that I came away with from this recent encounter was that with certain kinds of people that are just the kind of people that are at these levels, there is an element of their spirit that has gotten them to this place, that keeps them in this place, that gives them the motivation, that allows them to practice, to train, to do all the things they do. And so when we think about mind, body, spirit, we really have an opportunity to learn something from the athletes, from the musicians, from the artists, from the people that are really inhabiting that spirit aspect of themselves. Because they'll come in and teach you a whole lot simply by being in their presence.
That makes me think of another important role we can embrace, which is the aging athlete. Because when we go, for most of us, we don't stay at a high level forever. And when we start making that shift toward not able to do as much as we once were able to, something else needs to be strengthened. So already having exposure to mind, body, spirit therapies is helpful. And I think perhaps more emphasis on that as well. Again, because athletes are multifaceted as any human, as any being is. So while the sports acupuncture is very rooted in very precise musculoskeletal focus, I think we really have a wonderful opportunity for the aging athlete as well. Aging musician, aging anything, anyone that's been a superlative in their field, because it's hard going from one mindset to another.
Oh, yeah. I really want to second that. I have quite a few people in my life and in my practice who are in their 70s, 80s, and 90s, and these are very vibrant years. And we can't. I think that could be. That lure of the professional athlete is out there. I have to say it's not my biggest lure, but because that's just a period in a life also. Most people are not professional athletes for their entire life. There are few people who've transcended those barriers. But yeah, and a healthy aging, I mean, I don't want to die in pain and decrepit and with a lost mind. I want to die fully conscious in a body that doesn't feel like it just dissolves naturally. And I don't think that happens to most of us unless we make some conscious decisions about our self-care.
Well, somebody was talking earlier this evening about this Sports Acupuncture Alliance. It's an alliance, and it's really different groups of people having conversations like this, right? I mean, we just happened to run into each other as we thought we were going out the door, but we actually sat down for this conversation. So, those of you that are listening to this, notice the like-minded people around you. Notice the people that you're working with. Notice the people that you're lit up. You got this common interest. Have these kinds of conversations, because this is what makes an alliance, and this is what makes us all better at what we do. Right? We come together, we've got so much to share with each other. I love technology, and online training is kind of cool because, I can be at home. But it's nothing like coming in and bumping up against other people. I mean, there's really nothing like it. It's so worth it to get on an airplane and be able to have these kinds of opportunities. So, any closing remarks from the rest of you?
I would like to say thank you for making this happen and igniting us all a little bit more than we
made it happen.
Thank you to all of us for making it happen, and I wholeheartedly agree. One-on-one or being connected in person is something I would like us to globally community come back to a little bit more. Technology has its place and it is fabulous, but healing is from the heart, and that can happen through the waves and so forth, but I think it's important that we connect, that we take the time to connect personally on a soul level.
I think connection is a key word here. in healing and in human life in general, but our profession makes it so that we're often isolated. We're in our clinic, and we're not in contact with other like-minded practitioners. And I think our perception of reality sometimes may just diverge a little bit. It's like, okay, well, everybody actually lives a similar reality, but we think they're different because we only see them from a distance. So I think this connection is super important. And I'm very glad for this opportunity to be here this weekend and here right now around this table.
I'm a young acupuncturist, so it's been only 2 years now I practice. So thank you. You share very powerful message for a young acupuncturist to see that, you have so much experience and you want to share. It's very important, and that's why we came to Montreal to here, to participate and exchange. I'm a little bit shy, but I do my best, to learn a lot. Thank you.
Well, here we are at the end of this episode. If you've listened up to this point, you're either a rabid fan of Qiological or the forward button on your podcast player stopped working. If you are indeed a fan of the podcast, you can help us to bring new episodes to our community of practitioners by supporting us with a membership or a one-time contribution. Details, of course, are on the website. That's it for today, friends. Join us again next Tuesday for another thoughtful episode of Qiological.